Hello everyone and welcome to this deep stretch flow. Please come to this already warm as we will be moving straight into our stretches. And when you're ready, come to kneel with your eyes closed, hands in your lap. And take a moment here to ground yourself down and perhaps set an intention for the next 30 minutes of focused, fluid stretching. And blink open the eyes, bring the fingertips beside your hips onto the mat. Start to walk your left fingertips out so you can come to sit right down on your left hip, feet to the side. Hold on to your right ankle, take the left arm up overhead, and give a good stretch to the entire left side of the body. Breathing into the rib cage, breathing into the hip. And then as if someone is pulling up on your hand, come to sit back through center, reset your hands, start to walk the right fingertips out, sit down onto the right hip, grab a hold of the left ankle, sweep the right arm up overhead. Nice, big breaths into the right side rib cage and the right hip. Lift yourself up to center and then grab a hold of your blocks. Make your way up to a forward fold. The feet will be hips width apart. And there are lots of options here depending on where you're at. So keep a soft bend in the knees if you need. The blocks are here so that you can focus on that compression of bringing the lower belly down to the upper thighs. So try to forget about your spine for now and focus on that compression. So feel free to keep the blocks there if you need that extra height. Over time, you may be able to straighten the legs completely. And then you may be able to place the blocks aside, bring the hands down to the mat. And then if you like, you can even hook the big toes with your first two fingers and thumb. Take the elbows wide and press the fingers down with the big toes, drawing the forehead all the way down to your shins, into this full forward fold. Wherever you are, honor that today. Sometimes it can be hard to gauge how far to take a stretch, so really focus on your breath here. Is it calm? Is it fluid? Is your face relaxed? Find that sweet Goldilocks spot. Start to ease out of that just enough so you can heel toe the feet about as wide as your mat. Toes are out on an angle so that you can lower the hips down into a malasana squat. And we'll keep this really simple, bringing the elbows into the inside of the knees, hands to prayer at heart center. Sit tall through the spine, chest proud. Gaze forward and keep encouraging those knees outward, beginning to open up the inner thighs, the hips, the low back. And now from here, either bring the hands down to the mat or take that same hook of the toes. And then begin to lift the hips up, straightening the legs and forward fold in this wide-legged position. And then inhale as you sit the hips all the way back down. Keep the hands down here. So we exhale, lift the hips up, flowing into this forward fold, opening the hamstrings. And then inhale as we sit ourselves low. We'll do this 3 more times. Mobilizing the hips, the knees, the ankles, the spine. Try to keep that belly as close to the thighs as you can. One more time. And then from here, release the hands down to the mat, heel toe the feet so they're parallel, and then simply step back to a downward dog. Pressing through the hands and the feet equally when you get there, feeling that length through the spine and the backs of the legs. And then slowly lower the knees down to the mat, and we'll come into puppy. So step the knees back slightly, untuck the toes. And then keeping the hips stacked on top of the knees, begin to reach the hands far forward and sink the chest down towards the mat. Gaze forward, chin on the mat, or if you like, you can bring the forehead to the mat, easing off slightly. With each exhale, imagine your chest melting closer down to the earth. Fingertips active here, spreading across the mat. To make your way out of this, tuck the tailbone slightly, look down to the mat, and then walk the hands back, making your way to all fours. And then grab a hold of your blocks, maybe start with them on the second highest height. And you're going to bring your elbows down to the backs of the blocks. This might feel a little bit awkward. Walk the knees back slightly and then bring the hands into prayer. And then same action as puppy, you're going to melt your chest down towards the mat. So bringing in a deep shoulder opening here. So make sure the hips are still stacked on top of the knees. And the fingertips are pointing straight up towards the sky. Press the hands together. You can always change the height of the blocks if you'd like to go deeper or ease off. And same action as before, tuck the tailbone under, begin to push through the elbows to lift yourself up and out of that. Coming into all fours, keep the blocks handy. Step the right foot through and forward into a low lunge, keep the back toes untucked. And we'll start with the blocks up on their highest height, slightly wide and forward of the hips, just to help us stay tall and long through the upper body. And as you breathe into this deep opening of the left hip flexor, think about drawing the right heel back and the left knee forward, squaring off the hips and keeping the muscles of the legs engaged. Stabilizing our joints and also giving our nervous system a chance to trust what we're doing, where we're moving our body. And now slowly start to draw the hips back as you straighten through the front leg, making your way into a halfway split. Play with keeping the toes pointed down towards the mat. Sometimes this allows the sciatic nerve to be a little happier. And then you can definitely stay lifted in the upper body or start to forward fold over the leg, reaching those blocks further forward, maybe getting rid of them altogether. Same action as our forward fold in the beginning. Imagine your belly button melting down towards the thigh and the forehead drawing down towards the shin. So there's a compression here in this forward fold. Engage the muscles of the front leg. Breathe into the hamstring. Begin to bend back into that front leg, and then free your hands from the blocks. Going to flow through this. So as you inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, maybe introduce a bit of a back bend here, deepening that stretch of the front body. As you exhale, draw the hips back, straighten the front leg with control, forward fold over. So we inhale, low lunge, sweep the arms up, over and back. And exhale as you draw yourself forward and down over the leg. One more time. Inhale, sweep up. Perhaps hold here for a breath or two. Lift the chest up, shine it towards the sky. Wiggle the shoulders back. And then lower the hands down to the mat. Bring them to the inside of the front foot. And then heel toe the foot out about as wide as the mat, toes out on an angle, lizard lunge. Bend the back leg, point the toes up to the sky, reach around with the right hand, grab a hold of the outside of the foot. And then begin to kick the foot into the hand, opening the chest up towards the sky. Stay up on your left hand or slowly lower yourself down to your elbow. Wherever you are, keep kicking that foot into the hand, peeling the chest open. And then if you'd like to turn this into a quad stretch, take your gaze down to the mat, square the shoulders off, and then take your grip to the inside of the foot, draw the heel closer in towards the glute. And then without slingshotting the leg, release your hold of the foot, slowly lower it down to the mat, and bring the hands back down to the inside of the front foot. Keep the legs exactly as they are. Begin to draw the hips back, straightening the front leg, flexing the foot this time, and forward fold. So we're taking a wide leg forward fold here, targeting different portions of the hamstrings. Use the blocks as they suit you, and make sure your breath is fluid and your face is tension-free. Bend back into the front leg and heel toe the foot into center. So here we have time to practice our full splits. If you choose not to do that today, then simply kneel before we move into the other side. Otherwise, grab a hold of your blocks, bring them in line with your hips on the highest or second highest height. And then tuck the back toes so that you can inch the leg back behind you, lowering the hips closer down towards the mat. The front leg will naturally start to open, and you'll reach a point where you can then slide the front heel forward. I like to keep my front toes pointed. If that feels good for you, go ahead, or flex the foot. Either way, try to keep the front leg straight, engaging the muscles, stabilizing the joints here. And then once you reach that Goldilocks point, untuck the back toes, press the top of the back foot into the mat, and press the hands down into the blocks. Those blocks are there for you if you want to ease off at any point. Breathing here, think about that action of drawing the right heel back, the left hip forward. To make your way out of that, press your hands down into the block, draw the hips back, peel that front leg back to meet the left, and kneel, closing the eyes, rest the hands down. And we'll do everything now on the other side. So first, step the left foot through and forward, low lunge. Take the blocks wide, slightly forward of the hips. Start to stretch out the right hip flexor, which may feel a little bit tight at the moment. We just did all that work on the other side, but that's okay. Keep breathing. Now think about drawing the left heel and the right knee in towards each other, squaring the hips off. Each exhale, the hips draw lower down towards the mat. And now start to draw the hips back, straightening the front leg. Keep those toes pointed down to the mat. Start to forward fold over the leg. Reach those blocks forward if you want to take it a little bit deeper. Same compression action here, belly button down towards the thighs, forehead down towards the shin. Begin to bend into the front leg. Release your hands from the blocks. On your inhale, sweep the arms up and back as you lift the chest up towards the sky into this back bend. And exhale with control, draw the hips back, straighten the front leg, forward fold. 2 more times with your breath. Inhale, sweep the arms up and back. And exhale as you forward fold over the front leg. On this last one, inhale, lift up, and perhaps hold for a breath or two. Think about someone lifting your chest up towards the sky. Wiggle the shoulders back a little further. And then bring the hands down to the inside of the left foot. Start to heel toe the foot out, lizard lunge. Plant the right hand down, bend the back leg, point the toes up to the sky, reach around with the left hand for the outside of the foot, and then start to kick the foot into the hand, peeling the chest open towards the sky. Staying up on your hand or lowering down to your elbow. Spiraling your chest open to the sky when you get there. And then for the last breaths, if you want to turn this into a quad stretch, start to square the shoulders off to the mat and pivot your grip to the inside of the foot. Draw the heel in towards the glute. With control, release your hold of the foot, allow it to float down to the mat. Hands come to the inside of the front foot. Keep the front foot where it is, draw the hips back. Flex the foot this time as you straighten the leg, wide leg forward fold. Utilizing the blocks if they help you. Bend into the front leg, bring the foot back into center. And we'll set up for our splits on this side, which may be very different from the other side. That is totally normal. Mine is certainly different, but it's important we give the same amount of focus and attention to both sides of the body to reduce imbalances. So tuck the back toes and start to inch the back leg behind you, opening up the front leg, sliding the heel forward, straightening the front leg, pointing the toes if that feels good for you. And find your sweet spot. A place that feels slightly challenging, but you're still breathing easily. Your face feels relaxed. So the blocks are here to help you. You are in full control. If at any point the stretch turns into a strain, push into the hands and simply lift out of it a little bit. Practice makes progression. So take it slow and enjoy the process. Push into the blocks so you can draw the hips back, peeling that left leg to meet the right. Sit your hips down onto your heels, hands in your lap, close your eyes for a moment, and let everything settle. Move the blocks off to the side, and then step your right foot forward into a low lunge, but right away we're going to open up into Skandasana. So tuck the back toes, start to open up, walking the hands to face the left side of the mat. And then sink the hips low, flex the left foot. Keep the hands on the mat or reach the right arm wide of the right leg so the armpit is coming to the inside of the right knee, and reach the left fingertips up to the sky. Full breath cycle here. And then left hand comes down to the mat, tuck the back toes, square the hips off. Walk the right foot out, come to the outer edge of the right foot as you lower the left hip down, sweep the right arm all the way up and down as if it's presenting the left foot. And then press through the left hand, the outer edge of the left foot, lift the hips, sweep the right arm up and start to open all the way back up into Skandasana. Same thing as before, left fingertips reach up to the sky. Breathe here. Left foot flexed, opening up the inner thighs. Same thing as before, left hand down to the mat, start to square everything off, and then heel toe the right foot out to the outer edge. Right arm sweeps up overhead as you lower the hips down, and the right hand presents the left foot.
What happens when life breaks down?
Press into the left hand, lift the hips, right arm sweeps up, open back up to Skandasana. This time keep the hands on the mat. Stay low in the hips, simply transition over to the other side, bending into the left leg, straightening the right, flexing the right foot. And then you can bring your armpit to the inside of the left knee, reach those left fingertips long, right fingertips up towards the sky. And the right hand will sweep down to the mat, squaring the hips off to the back of the mat here. And then heel toe the left foot out, coming onto the outer edge of the left foot. Lowering the hips down as the left arm sweeps up and over. Press into the hand, lift the hips up, sweep the left arm up overhead, and make your way back into Skandasana. Allow the breath to be natural here.
down.
And then transition back to face the other way. So the right hand comes down, square the hips off, walk the left foot out, lower the hips, and sweep the left arm up and over. Lift the hips, sweep the arm, make your way back to Skandasana. Keep your hands on the mat this time. And then straighten through both legs, point all 10 toes forward in this wide leg forward fold. You can stay here in a wide leg forward fold, or you can start to slide down into a straddle split. I like to come into this with my feet flexed on the inner edges of my feet. So my toes and my knees are facing forward, where my fingertips are facing. And then you may be able to lower down onto your forearms. Keep the feet flexed, stay on the inner edges of your feet. Make sure your knees are pointing where your toes are. Continuing to breathe as the pelvis lowers closer to the mat on its own time. And then slowly start to sit yourself all the way down. So you'll rock yourself back onto your glutes, toes and knees face the sky to a more traditional straddle split. So lifting up tall through the spine, you can stay here with your hands on the mat. Keeping the feet flexed, you may start to walk the hands forward slightly. You could even grab blocks and rest your forearms down on the blocks. Introducing a bit of a forward fold in your straddle. Continue to breathe that energy through your tailbone all the way up through the top of the head. Spine is long here. Toes and knees pointing up towards the sky. And then over time, you may get rid of the blocks altogether, coming down onto your elbows, onto the mat. And then perhaps reaching all the way forward with your hands for a full straddle split. Think belly button down to the mat.
What happens when life breaks down?
If you are down, start to walk the hands back, coming to sit tall. Take the hands to the outside of the legs and use the hands to draw your legs in towards each other, nice and slow. Keep the knees bent, feet on the mat, and then wrap your hands and your arms around your legs, so the backs of the thighs. Lower the head down towards the knees and hug your legs in. Lift the head, take the hands behind you, then take the feet out in front of you nice and wide, and then windshield wiper the knees down to one side. Allow that one glute to lift up so you can stretch the front of the hip. And then windshield wiper the legs over to the other side. Internally rotating that leg to counter all of that straddle work. One more time on each side. Now bring both legs in front of you, keep them bent, hold on to the backs of the thighs, and slowly lower yourself all the way down to your back. Take the feet wide once again, lower the knees down towards the left, so you're internally rotating the right leg. And then take the left foot on top of the right knee to encourage that knee down towards the mat. The right glute will lift. Then reach the arms up overhead. Grab a hold of the right wrist with the left hand. And feel that stretch all along the right side of the front body. Simply lift your legs up to center and make your way over to the other side. So the right foot will come on top of the left knee now. And right hand will grab a hold of the left wrist to encourage that one long line of energy through the left side. Release that, make your way to center. Plant both feet on the mat now, hips width apart, and walk them closer in towards your glutes. Arms will come down to your sides. Press into the heels, tuck the pelvis as you lift the hips up to bridge. One final pose here to really fortify our muscles and our joints, kind of piecing everything back together. Then option to raise the arms up, fingertips towards the sky. Soft squeeze through the glutes. Keep the hips lifted. Lower the hips all the way down. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Lift your head and give yourself a squeeze. And then release everything. Reach the legs long. Take the arms wide into Shavasana. Feel free to stay here for a few moments. Allow your nervous system to completely settle, be held by the earth. Allow your breath to return completely to normal. And I will leave you here to rest. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep stretch flow. I hope that you feel restored and long and able to carry on with your day in a body that feels a little more balanced. Take really good care, and I'll see you next time.